I'm Edie Lush, and I'm really pleased to be here in the Davos Hub Culture Studio 2019. Absolutely delighted to be with Caroline Casey. Thanks for coming along.
How do you ever turn down the lady who's called Edie Lush? I mean, I love your name.
Now, you have just launched something, Valuable 500, which is a kind of a step up, step along from Valuable campaign.
That's right.
Talk me through it.
So we launched the Valuable 500 at a press conference yesterday with WEF, which is a great platform to launch it on.
Congratulations.
No, it's a really big deal. I mean, the intention of #Valuable, which we launched in 2017, was to position disability on the global business leadership agenda. And through that, how to do that was through the world's greatest leaders and brands and platforms. So yesterday, on one of the great platforms, with Virgin Media and Omnicom and One Young World, our great friends and strategic partners, we launched the Valuable 500, which is asking 500 companies around the world in 364 days to put disability on their board agenda, have the CEO's signature sign it off, make one commitment to action, and shout about that externally and internally. And what we believe that will be is a tipping point around leaders engaging on this piece around disability inclusion, but to also release the economic and social and business potential of 1.3 billion people in the world, 20% of our global market.
That's a lot, right?
It's a lot,
20% of the global market.
A lot.
Let's put it in context of some of the conversations that I've been having along the promenade this week. And one of the things that, in fact, for the podcast we talk about for season 2, just so you know,
okay.
Global Goals Cast, is that the world is diverse.
Yeah.
We don't need to make the world diverse, right? But what we need to do is bring everyone to the table, and that is the value of inclusion. Because once we include everyone at the table, we all rise up together.
You see, I love this conversation. So my rally cry is the only thing that we have in common is our difference. One of my biggest bugbears is one of the reasons disability has remained on the sidelines for business is because of this insane competing diversity and inclusion agenda. When we are pitching humanity against humanity under labels of gender, LGBTQ, ethnicity, disability, and like we are so many labels. Like I have a disability and I'm a woman. You know, why are we doing that? We have decided, Next Generation have been our greatest allies in this, right? And they believe in inclusion in a totally different way. And with them, we co-designed with AMV this film called #Diverse-ish. So it's a satire, but it's basically saying we need to end diverse-ish inclusion. You can't have pick and mix inclusion because it suits your brand or suits your politics. If we really believe in inclusion, it should be the full human experience, you know, and then I think we might have a better world because all of us get the chance to contribute.
We're all human.
Yeah, exactly. Like, so what? Why are we taking bits of ourselves and competing them against each other?
Tell me why this issue is so personal to you. Tell me a little bit about your personal story.
Well, disability is going to be personal to everybody at some point in their life. I mean, everybody is going to touch disability. But I am registered legally blind. I have ocular albinism. I have very, very white skin. I am melting here in this box. But can I just tell you, if I was outside, I will be turning a beautiful shade of pink. But let me explain for those people who may not understand what registered blind means. If you were to put a pair of glasses on and smear Vaseline over them, that's my life. Now, you are beautiful anyway, but you get to be super beautiful with me. Everything beyond my hand. And I was born with this condition, but my parents, because I was 1971, so I'm 47 now, they were like, there's a real thing in our family, you don't limit somebody by a label or a condition. And they saw the world as the disabler, not the disability. And so they decided to bring me up as a sighted child. So I had absolutely no idea. I could see so little until I was 17 years old when I wanted to go get my motorbike license because I love speed. And my father gave me a driving lesson. So that's how I found out. It is like totally crazy, and it's totally true.
Wow.
Yeah.
And how did that affect you in the workplace as well?
Well, I mean, my first conscious act of discrimination happened at 17 when I discovered this thing I had. And I was like, excuse me, I don't want to have a disability. I see how the world treats. Because disability, certainly at that time, was either you're super inspirational,
right,
or, oh my God, that's so awful, or
right,
you're a freak. And I didn't want any of those. So I hid it magnificently for 11 years. I distracted all of you around me so you couldn't see that I couldn't see. And I started my career as an archaeologist. Not maybe the best job for somebody who doesn't see very well. And then I did various things, went to business school and became a management consultant with Accenture. And never told them either.
Right.
Something I feel very strongly about now is when you're hiding a piece of yourself.
Yeah.
It's like if you have inside you a hidden story, it's agony. And I think after 11 years of being somebody I wasn't, I came out of the closet with Accenture at 28.
And then what
I
happened?
asked, whoa, yeah, for the first time in my life, I asked for help. Wow. I still find asking for help very hard. I think it makes me feel very vulnerable. So certainly then it was my first move out. And I'd had many dreams as a 17-year-old. As I said, I wanted to be a biker chick, but I also wanted to be Mowgli from the Jungle Book and a cowgirl.
Nice.
I mean, it's
Nice.
ridiculous. So when Accenture supported me by sending me to an eye specialist to see what we could do, the eye specialist said, I think you need to take some time out. And asked me a very profound question at the time, is like, well, is this who you imagined that you were going to be at 28? And I guess there was a real shame and fear and anger and complete not knowing about where I was going to be or who I was going to be going forward. And so it was just one of those extraordinary moments in your life that within 5 or 6 hours of his conversation, I found myself lying face down on a rock when I went for a run because I fell. And yeah, it was a really big moment. And I decided, how am I going to get off this rock? And I decided, well, I would be Mowgli from the Jungle Book. And how I did that was I rode across India on an elephant a year later.
Nice.
And started my revolutionary journey around disability business inclusion, because very early on, I could not understand where was business in this conversation about ending the disability inequality crisis, respect to governments, respect to legislation, huge respect to charity. But I'm sorry, business is the most powerful force on this planet. And if it is not having a conversation, a valuable conversation about 20% of our population, are you serious? That is insane. So that's where my work began, on the back of an elephant.
All right, Caroline, I want you to come back in 364 days and tell me how those businesses are doing. Okay?
Well, I will, but I want to tell you something. We already have 8 early adopters.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, like we have already, am I allowed to say them?
You can.
Okay, so we have Unilever, Virgin Media, Omnicom, Accenture, my old employer, came in globally. Nice. Yeah, I know. Microsoft, nice. Came in globally as well. It's fantastic. Barclays, Fujitsu, and Cineopolis. So can I just say, I'm making a call out here. We're looking for the biggest brands in the world to help us make the change. And if you ain't on that list, you ain't in business.
She's going to come get you. All right, Caroline Casey from Valuable 500. Thanks very much for stopping by the Hub Culture studio here in Davos. And I'm Edie Lush.